Shares of Alphabet are soaring this morning after the company beat expectations on the top and bottom line in the second quarter. Joining us now is Yahoo Finance's Dan Halley. He will break down the numbers. And this was a surprise because we saw advertising revenue somewhat decelerating, but now a turnaround.
Yeah, that's really the news here, and that's why you're seeing this pop, is because the ad revenue had been declining or slowing in previous quarters, and now it's really rebounded, and that's obviously the most important part of Google's business. They get the bulk of their money from advertising, so that's really an important move for them. It's also interesting to see how their cloud business is doing. That's something that they're really trying to push forward, really trying to get more companies on board with them so they can compete with the likes of Amazon and Microsoft. They're still well behind those two as far as market share goes, but they are in third place, and they're going to continue to grow that going forward. So advertising, big win for them there, and more in their cloud space. That's going to continue to be a big part of the conversation going forward.
All right, let's turn to our panel on this, because obviously we see a sharp contrast between Google and Amazon today, right, in the reactions here. Sanan, when you look at the two companies and sort of how they're doing business and also how they're managing expectations, what do you think?
I think these are both great companies. I think the long-term prospects on both of them are fantastic. This is a blip for Amazon. It's an investment in not just AWS marketing and AWS innovation, but also in prime content, in logistics to speed delivery. I think that the top line is going to come back pretty quickly. I'm not really concerned about Amazon. I also think that these businesses are inherently profitable. These are very scalable businesses. Cloud businesses, digital marketing businesses have very little cost and investment for the revenue that they create. And these companies know how to do these businesses.
Is it perhaps too much of a good thing, though, for Alphabet? I mean, could the chorus on Capitol Hill that is calling for some kind of regulation, even some who are calling for breakup of big tech companies, say, look, they control advertising, and they just proved it again?
Well, obviously, you have the Department of Justice with their antitrust probe into Google, and this is going to be a big story. That's why I wanted to ask that question about Amazon, not just for Google or Microsoft, but a lot of these large tech companies, because of the fact that this is unprecedented type of technology and that we're seeing this type of horizontal integration where you have the likes of Amazon stepping into spaces that people didn't think were traditionally tech, like healthcare, for example. But I think it speaks to the fact that, I mean, as you mentioned just now, I mean, these companies are immensely profitable. Google just announced a $25 billion repurchase plan. So even if there were to be a theoretical fine, right, Facebook got $5 billion from the FTC. It's not like they don't have the cash to deal with that, but from a reputational risk standpoint, obviously from the associated costs with fixing some of those issues, that can amount to far more than just the fine that's actually in the FTC or in the enforcement order. But I think these companies can stand it, but in the long term, there really are issues about how they can handle this type of thing.
I mean, I feel like one thing is that I agree with Anthony that under the old framework of the, as he said, the DOJ, antitrust, consumer harm, the case is weak. The problem is, as I said last time I was here, this is an election year, and the conversation is about changing the antitrust framework to be about innovation, to be about using your power to harm consumers' data privacy, and so on. And so I think that there is room for a different framework for antitrust. I don't agree that that should be the framework. However, we could see some action